Okay, for chunk 2, we're looking at frequency histograms and frequency polygons. So a frequency histogram is like a column graph, except it's for numbers. It's a graphical representation of a frequency distribution table. It can be used when items are numerical, so numerical only, not categorical. The vertical axis, which is the y-axis, is used to represent the frequency, which is the number, how many there are, the frequency of each item. Columns are placed next to each other with no gaps. We use a half column width space is placed between the vertical axis and the first column of the histogram, and we will see why we do that when we construct this thing. A frequency polygon is formed by drawing the centers of each column in the histogram. It begins and ends on the horizontal axis. Okay, so let's have a look at an example. I've got this out of your textbook. Question 4, following sets of data. Create a frequency distribution table. So what I've done is I've already put a table in here. I can see I've got numbers from 1 to 5. So I'm simply going to put them in there. And then I'm going to make my tally like I did last time. I'm going to put a mark, count as I go, as I cross them off. All right, I've got them all crossed off, so now I'm counting them up. 3, 1, 2, 4, 5. All right, so that's my frequency distribution table. Next, I've got to draw a histogram and a polygon. So remember, we've got our frequency up here. Now, when we do this, we need to leave a half column. So these are where our columns are going to go between. My green lines are indicating where my columns are going between, and it looks as if perhaps I haven't made enough, I don't know. Now our numbers are going to be in the middle there. So my actual grid is where the centre is of each column. So I'm putting my numbers on the grid line, so it ends up in the centre. Now I've got a half column width over here, my columns are going to go between there. Number 1, frequency. All right, so we'll put our frequency, put our numbers on this axis. And now our first one is free, so we're going to go down here. Now I would use a ruler, except when I do use a ruler, often my OneNote jumps around, so rather than not have to spend a whole heap of time. All right, 1, 2, I am up here for 3, and I've got a 4 for 4. Again, please get a ruler if you haven't got one in your gear for this topic and use it. Get practice drawing, because whenever we have an assessment in this, they're going to give you marks on how neat you are. Okay, so that is my frequency histogram. Each of these columns represent these items down the bottom. So this one's how many ones I've got. I've got 3 ones. I've got 1, 2. I've got 2 threes, etc. Now the next thing about polygon. A polygon means many angles. And so a polygon is going to look something like this. And you can see I've got lots of angles in there. That's where the polygon comes from. Poly, lots, gon, angle. I'm just going to change colour and we'll have a look at what we are going to do. Okay, so what we do is we're joining the centre of all these. Now we're starting on the axis. We're going to start down there at 0, 0, and this is why we needed to leave a half gap, because we needed to start here and not halfway. So now what we do is we just join them all up, and we end up with a polygon being, I guess, a line with lots of angles on it. Remember the last one comes all the way down and ends up there. Okay, so this is my frequency polygon, is the red one, and the green one is my histogram. It's like a column graph. Again, if we have a look at what you're doing, you are doing the same thing. I'm going to give you out some tables. It's actually to use a ruler. You're going to come through here. You're going to put your scores. Remember, you need your half gap. So that's where your columns are going to go between. So when we're putting our numbers here, we're going to put them under the middle. And this is the middle of our columns. So the dashed line is the outside of our columns. Our columns are going up, like I said, up here is the first column. Okay, so we've got that one there. The next one is the same sort of thing. So all of these you should be able to look at and visually do without me giving you any more scaffolding. Please have a go. If you do get through all those, there is another one here which is doing the same thing. It's for those who get through this relatively quickly. The minimum is to get through, if you can, questions 1, 2 and 3 on this one, and on the other one was to get through that first column, get your way down to 6. Okay,